Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be part 2 of the arterial blood gas series. Hopefully you did watch part 1. You do need a basic understanding of blood gas to fully understand this video. This video is going to explain the pathological states of arterial blood gases. So let's go ahead and begin here. Notice how at the top I did list we have our parameters of arterial blood gas. I did cross out the base excess or base deficit. I think that's the least important one that you have to know, as well as give you some parameters to memorize over here on the right hand side. You do need to commit these to memory so that way you know what's going on. Okay, so there are two different components to a blood gas. You have a ventilatory and a metabolic component. So you have the ventilatory and the metabolic component. Obviously, ventilatory relates to your lungs, and the metabolic component is going to relate to your kidneys. So there are two organ systems, your lungs and kidneys, that are involved in blood gas management in the body and altering your pH. So here's how those are connected. So of our ventilatory system, we do have the ability to regulate minute ventilation. Minute ventilation is equal to respiratory rate times tidal volume. Now I did do a video on tidal volume, so if you have a little more information on that, but notice how if we change our minute ventilation, so if we either increase or decrease our respiratory rate, we are going to affect our ventilation, which is going to affect our pressure of arterial carbon dioxide, or PaCO2. Or PaCO2 is the lung component of blood gas management, and likewise bicarbonate is going to be the metabolic component that I already talked about. Now, do we have the conscious ability to breathe more? And the answer is yes. Instead of going from minute ventilation, I can go to forced vital capacity breaths at a very high rate. I can hyperventilate, and I can actually change my PaCO2 and directly affect my pH. Now, the kidneys are going to be a little more passive. I don't have the ability to just dial up my kidneys and say, all right, let's start excreting bicarb. This is actually more of a passive process. So the kidneys typically are a little bit slower. Ventilation does tend to be a little bit quicker, but the kidneys unfortunately do take a little bit of time to regulate the pH and the bicarbonate in the bloodstream. And a little bit, I'm talking about 15 to 30 minutes to regulate. So not days to weeks, but definitely not a rapid process. It does take minutes onto hours to start fully compensating. So the initial phase of compensation happens relatively quick, 15 to 30 minutes, and then the longer phase does take more so hours to help regulate. So we have PaCO2, which is my ventilation component, and the metabolic component. So of answering any type of disease state, you only have 3 answers. Now, let me change this up. You have 4 answers. You have 1, normal. 2, you have respiratory. 3, you have metabolic. Or 4, you have mixed. And mixed is a combination of both respiratory and metabolic. So here's your multiple choice answers. Really, there's only 4 different possible scenarios. So this is fairly easy. Blood gases, I think, are not explained very well in school, but this is easy. So I'm going to create another video here to talk about the differences between normal, respiratory, metabolic, and mixed. Now, realistically, we did talk about normal, and that's over here. You're memorizing normal. So you have to commit normal numbers to understand abnormal numbers. So please follow me in part 3, and let's keep learning.